All right, so good morning, Olympic and Alliance. Thank you so much for being on this morning. We have a really great guest speaker today. He's here to talk about his union, his experience in it, how he came to it, the benefits of being in it, all that good stuff. We love working with Mr. Baldwin, so we're really excited that he's here to talk to you all today. As a quick reminder, you students cannot unmute yourselves, but please use the chat function if you have any questions that come up for our guest, and I will, myself and the staff will kind of keep an eye on that and make sure that, we ask those questions at the end, okay? And on that note, I'm gonna go ahead and hand it over to Mr. Terry Baldwin from Local 302 IBEW, and he'll tell you all about that. So take it away, sir.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. My name is Terry Baldwin, as stated. I'm a member of International Brotherhood Electrical Workers, Local 302. Been such for 26 years. I had 8 years previous as an unrepresented worker, a non-union worker before that. So basically going on 33 years of being in the electrical industry. The beauty of all this and the fact of what I want to present to you all is the opportunities that are there for both women and men. Some of the best electricians I have worked with are women, and I will just say it, on the bigger jobs that I've ran in my career, women tend to be a little bit more focused on truer tasks of just the way they think compared to how men think. And we won't get into that subject, but the fact of it is the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers was established in 1891. So the acronym's journeyman, inside wireman is our classification as a journeyman electrician. All these things lead up to opportunities, though. I've been in this office and in this position for 9 years, and my main goal was to create more opportunities and be more diverse in the people that we have in our local, and we've been accomplishing that a lot. Basically, and I'm a little slow, I'm a little dinged up, but I'm here. Our apprenticeship program is a 5-year program. There's certain things that you have to meet: 18 years of age, either high school diploma or GED, anything equivalent to that. But the big thing that we find is people need to have their algebra requirements. So if you have a C or better, whether it's through high school, continuation school, intermediate school, we found some people that took algebra all the way back in the 7th and 8th grade, and that's great. With that being said, because electricity is all about math, and you have theories and AC theory and DC theories and all these things that lead up to your basic knowledge of electricity. And through that 5-year program, you're going to receive 8,000 hours of school training and lab work and 8,000 hours of field training all at the same time. You'll go to school 2 nights a week. Once you get in, you start off at $22.70 an hour, which is 40% of the journeyman wage. Journeyman makes $56.76 an hour. Every, I'm going to say 1,500 to 1,600 hours, whether you like it or not, you're going to get a raise. It's about 10% each raise. So I'll just basically go over the periods. There's 6 periods in the 5 years. Start off at $22.70 an hour. You jump to $22.38, then $34.06, $39.73, $45.41, and then your last period as in your apprenticeship, you're making $51.08. And the things that you learn and the ability is, and we're lucky in this local that we have all 3 facets of the industry. You start off in the residential, you go to the commercial, and then you go to the industrial. Residential, obviously houses, condominiums, those kind of things from the ground up. You have the commercial, the taller buildings that you see in the area or wherever you're living. And then the industrial, some of the refinery work, which is being changed to a different type of, like a biotech. A couple of these companies have changed what they're trying to do with clean energy. But refinery work, heavy commercial work, those kind of things. I guess let me look over some more notes. So we went through the 18 years of age, driver's license, diploma, and there is a pre-employment drug test before you actually become an apprentice. So all these things matter. Um, I really want to emphasize how important and how much I love my occupation. It's provided for my family, for my children who are now in their 30s, my granddaughter. But it's fun to drive around the area and say, hey, I worked on that. And my kids used to hate that. You're always telling them, you know, you've worked on this project and worked on that project. But it's about giving back to the community with your work. But it's also the ability within the building trades, and I promote them all. I mean, I'm an electrician by trade, but I have friends in all the different trades, whether pipe fitting, carpentry, boiler makers, iron workers, all those things. But what it is now you're able to, once you get out of your apprenticeship and you're a journey person, you're able to make that living wage. You're able to have retirement. You're able to have health and welfare, and all the positives to provide yourself and your future families, or family if you already have that, to be able to take care of those things that are so important to all of us. But that living wage is probably the biggest thing. And like I said, there's not too many places you can start not knowing anything about electricity and jump into a job that's going to pay you $22.70 an hour, and you start your education. Now everybody thinks, okay, now I'm done with those 5 years. The big factor is you never stop learning with this industry. I still go to school. I have to maintain my general license to work. And so every 3 years, I have to have at least a minimum of 32 hours of continuous education. Doesn't sound like much, but you're always learning, and you never stop going to school. I'm going to be 59 this year, and I wasn't a great student. I was one of those guys that was barely getting by, went in the service, got out of the service, found this industry a little bit later in my life. I think I was 24 at the time, or 25. But the opportunities are there. I think I've talked enough, so maybe we can answer some questions.
Thank you so much, Terry. So you mentioned that you like driving by some of the places that you have worked. Can you talk about one of your most favorite projects that you've worked on, something cool or just the funnest one?
I'll be honest with you, the fun jobs I always enjoy were the industrial, whether it was the refineries or the power plants. If you're on Highway 4 and you're driving east or west, you can always look to your left or right-hand side and you see some of those power plants. Las Madonnas Energy Center in Pittsburgh was one of my favorites. Um, it's just rewarding to know that you have your hand in something that you built with your hands and your brothers and sisters, and you drive in starting this project, and eventually you work yourself out of this project. Everything has a start and everything has an end date. So those are the things that I enjoy most. And I think a lot of it was because of the amount of people that were on the job, different crafts, and you build bonds with everybody in the different trades, including your own. But it's just rewarding to know that you've helped the community.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you. Can you talk to us about the process of getting into the internship program? Is there a test? Do you just sign up? What does that look like?
Sure. So once again, we've gone through the basics of what you need to apply. So the other thing that I left out, and like I said, today, you have to provide your transcripts of where you have your algebra requirements. Has to be in a sealed envelope. So I always tell people, when you go back to the school of origin of where you passed your algebra, get a couple copies. Sometimes they charge you $4 or $5 per copy. I always say get a couple. That way you can actually open up that envelope, and you'll probably be in touch with me, and we can make sure that you've met those requirements. I can't tell you the few times that I've been involved with the application process. Somebody thinks they have their app, everything's up to date and they have their requirements, and they don't. So now you're in a panic and you're in a hustle time to try and get that. And I've seen it done, but it just alleviates that extra pressure of not having something that you need on the day of the application process. But it's very simple. Those are the most important things. And I'm not quite prepared today. I had some videos and stuff, but with me being out the last couple of days, I haven't been able to do that. So what I'm going to ask Aaron to do is pass all my information on. You can call me, you can text me, you can email me, however you all want to communicate. And like I said, these opportunities are for everyone. There is no age requirement beyond the 18 years of age. There's no end date. A gray-haired guy like me could apply at 50-something years of age, or a gal that wants to apply. We're open to everything and anybody, and it's very important because, like I said, you don't always know what you want to do literally coming out of school if you're at a young age, or even if you're in your late 20s, early 30s, even 40s, you may still be looking for something in the positive. And that's why I'm here, is to help guide that along.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. You mentioned that students don't necessarily need to know anything about electrical work because it's on the job training. But what is one skill that you think is a good skill for students to start working on now, whether it be communication,
Sure.
responsibility, time management? What would you say is something that maybe makes somebody stand out in the pack?
Sure. And these are what we consider soft skills, or, the ability to have a vehicle that will get you to work on time. And I will state that if you show up every day and you show up on time every day, that's a huge positive, because, you know, when you go to a job site, we have to have a 3 to 5 week look ahead of our persons that are on this job, and we can plan out for that. If you don't show up that day, it kind of throws a wrench in that. So being able to show up for work on time, to be a good communicator, and that takes time. I mean, not everybody has those skills. I wasn't always a good communicator. The ability to read a tape measure, just these little things that people don't always think about. I will say the electrical industry, and I've stated this, is all math, and it really is. But ultimately, that math equals to pay per week. So you have to look at that. But being on time, knowing how to read a tape measure, having your basic math skills is so important, and really just trying to give your best. You're not going to have a sunshiny day every day, but if you give 100% of what you have every day, you're going to have huge success. So that's the way I looked at it. I did, like I said, working in the refineries and such, running big crews. I always used to tell people, we're here to have fun, but we have to take it seriously. And the biggest thing is to be safe, so you can go home the way you came in through that gate each day. But we want to have some fun. You don't want it to be a grind. I've been doing this for 30 plus years, and I'm thankful and happy every day that I have an opportunity to be able to work and to enjoy my career.
It's always very important to like what you do. You're doing it for a lot of years and a lot of time during the day.
Yep.
Yeah. Can you talk to us? How has the industry changed with the COVID pandemic? You know, the students have now been in school virtually for a year, and their whole world's changed. How did that change, and what are the safety protocols, and what does that look like for people in your industry?
So it's a great conversation to have. And as electricians, we have been from the very beginning classified as essential workers. You know, obviously keeping the lights on or whatever it may be in a small view. But the big thing is, when you go to a job site, one of our union job sites, and even some of the non-union I've gone to, not all of them are following some of the protocols, and not some of the union. You know, you have to get on people, but the mask, um, keeping sanitized, keeping your 6 foot distance. You will have your temperature taken before you get on a job site. Um, I guess the biggest thing is the distancing, and you keeping yourself protected, your mask on or whatever you're utilizing that is proper to make sure that we're not going to spread this virus. Um, there have been job sites that they've had to, where they've had a person uh, get the COVID, and then they have to go through those protocols where people will go home and spend that 14 days at home. The key is the contractors, and it's hard to believe, but you're still getting paid for those 2 weeks because it's no fault of your own being exposed. This is part of being in a union and having a collective bargaining agreement and an agreement with our contractors. And this isn't just locally, this is nationally. Our international president, um, sorry, brain fart. Uh, Lonnie Stevenson is our international president, but he went out right in the beginning of this a year ago and stated and worked out a deal with all the contractors nationally on how we were going to get all the protocols in place, like eating lunch. I mean, the basic things of keeping your distance, or if you're in the refinery and they have trailers for people to go have lunch in a heated, covered area, they have now plexiglass in place. So everything that is IBEW first is safety first, and this is a huge part of it. And like I said, we've been very fortunate to not miss too many days, and we'll just keep after it. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, it totally did. Thank you. It sounds like being a part of a union is definitely beneficial for the employee and for the person. It sounds like being a part of, and correct us if we're wrong, you're protected, you have job security, can you talk a little bit about some of the benefits of like specifically being in a union and then the brother and sisterhood of that union?
Sure, and it's a big part. I always tell people, I'm in leadership of this local, but I'm also a leader in this brotherhood and sisterhood that we have. This is my second family, so it means a lot to me that our members are taken care of. And really the big factor of the benefits, and I mentioned a collective bargaining agreement. There's a lot of literature in between the covers of this agreement, and it's something that is established every 3 years, maybe 2 years, amongst our contractors. We are a hiring hall. We take care of the individuals. The contractor makes a call, said, hey, I need this, I need a journeyman, I need an apprentice, whatever that may be, and we have a dispatcher that does that. But the benefits, because I've been on the other side of the fence as an unrepresented worker, um, the protection of a living wage, not having to haggle for a living wage. We have a specific tool list that everybody from a first year apprentice to a 40-year veteran of the electrical industry have the same tool list. And the reason for that is that way it's not competitive on who has the best tools. It's the same. And anything beyond that tool list, the contractors provide. But the big benefit more than anything is the schooling. With the apprenticeship, you don't incur any student debt over that 5 years because we pay for that. So you're actually getting all your training, and it's an investment into our future. As journeymen and journeywomen, uh, they are also able to go to school at no cost to themselves. Their union dues pay for that. And so those are the things that are positive, that you're always having that ability to be educated. But the protections of, an 8-hour workday, or if you have to work over 8 hours, time and a half or double time's applied. The ability to build a bank for your health coverage, where you can build up to 750 hours of coverage in case you are laid off, because it's going to happen. I always say an alternating current is up and down. Well, so is our career and jobs. Over the 19 years of in the field, I probably had 2 different opportunities where I didn't work for 6 or 7 months. There was no work, and I could have left the state and found work. And that's the ability to travel compared to commuting. Across the United States, there's probably 1,200 different locals of opportunities. Once you're a member of 302, that is your home local. Everywhere else, including the Bay Area and all over the country and the Hawaiian Islands and Guam, there are opportunities out there every day to work and travel. So really the benefits of being in the union is not having to worry about where your next job is, because there's always other opportunities. The apprenticeship, once again, takes care of itself and takes care of your education, also moving forward. Our graduation rate through the JTC, or the apprenticeship program, is at about 92 to 93%. We have one of the highest percentages in the state of California, 302 does, on graduation rate. Now, with that being said, we're Zooming. All the apprentices are Zooming. The journeyman classes are Zooming until we get beyond what we are at right now. But there's just safety involved. And I always emphasize safety because electricity will get you if you're not well trained and you don't understand it. So always being respectful of electricity, but not having fear. Knowledge is king in all of this. Did that answer the question, Aaron?
Yeah, it was great. Thank you. Thank you.
Like I'm
Very,
running
very
my lips
union.
too much.
No, we're very union proud over here. What somebody asked in the chat, it's a two-part question. What advice would you give to students who are currently in high school who really don't know much about the trades? And how can they see and learn which trade is best for them?
Oh, that's an outstanding question. And things will get easier as we open the doors up against once this virus is and people get vaccinated, and things get back to whatever that normal is that I have an open door policy so you can come down here and see the Union Hall. I can take you over to the training center and show you what that's about. The different trades are the same way, and I think we've all been on some of these speaking engagements with everybody, but really it's a one-on-one thing where there's people that you can call and talk to, and they can provide you with that information or have you come down to their training centers or their union halls, and you can look at all these things. I think the biggest thing is the communication that we have, and Aaron will share my information. I will take phone calls, I will take texts, I will do whatever. And if you're interested in another trade and you haven't been able to find somebody or find a pathway to that, just call me because like I said, I'm supportive of everybody in every industry. So I hope that answers that question.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much. Somebody also says, so you talked about, the minimum age requirement is 18, but somebody just asked what would be the best age to start? Is there a preference?
I always say the sooner the better because once you start working, you're already putting into your retirement. And at the end, when you retire, you want to not have to change the lifestyle you've created. I will give you a perfect example. Um, I drag race, so that's a hobby. I'm building a house up in McLeod, which is above Dunsmuir, to retire. All this IBEW stuff has allowed me to do that. Aaron, refresh me on the topic because I'm going to get off track. Um, on
It
this.
just it just said the best age to
Okay.
potentially enter.
And I have found that anywhere, it depends on your maturity level, and everybody has that maturity level. My girlfriend and my ex-wife always tell me I'm not very mature for my age, and sorry, I'm not changing that. But I've found where people have success at 18 years of age, all the way to 30 when you find that sweet spot or that occupation that you want to make your career. Sometimes when we're 18, 19, 20, 21, we're still in that party mode and having a good time and trying to figure out what we want to do with our lives. And it's a huge, huge thing to overcome because not everybody knows. Like I said, it took me quite a while before I figured out what I wanted to do, and it was by accident. I left the state of California at 24, 25 years old with my wife at the time and my two young children. We traveled the country. So that's kind of a tough question because everybody has a maturity level, right? But we have found more success with our apprentices, probably mid 20s. Okay. But like I said, that doesn't mean an 18-year-old right fresh out of high school that applies and gets in is not going to have the success. And I will give you an example. With no help from me, one of my girlfriend's twin daughters decided to apply for the apprenticeship 2 years ago. She was 19. She got in. She's having great success. So, like I said, the number is what it is, but you have to search that out and find your passion. Because I think Aaron stated, if you don't enjoy what you're doing, it's going to be a long, hard life, and you want to be able to enjoy each day for what it is.
For sure. Thank you. Somebody sent me a message and they say, when do the apprenticeships start and when is the general time to apply or try to get in?
Okay, so this year, obviously with COVID, we were supposed to open up our application process in January. We're still in the process of doing that. If it doesn't happen this year, they will continue off the list from the previous year. But January is usually the time that Local 302 has their application process. Now, the other locals in the Bay Area, you can type in the different IBEW locals in the area. And I will just like 595 is Oakland Alameda. Their Union Hall is in Dublin. They sometimes do it twice a year. Everybody does it a little bit differently. San Francisco Local 6, I believe, does it once a year. And they're the ones that make the most money in the country. Their journeymen are at like $72 an hour, $73 an hour. So their apprentices start out at like $28 an hour. But when they open up their application process, they've seen anywhere between 2,500 and 5,000 people apply. We're a very small local here. We're 1,300 members. And when we usually have an application process, it can be anywhere between 300 and 500 people. So that's kind of where that goes.
Okay, awesome. So if January is the time frame, let's say we have a student who will be graduating school this year, could they, sign up in January saying like, I'll have my diploma by May or June? Would that work? Or do they need to wait until the following?
You have to be 18. You have to be able to be already graduated to apply, because what happens is once you go through this process, and let's talk about that process because I probably didn't touch on it. When you apply, you come in, you apply, you have all your credentials, everything's good. Within 2 weeks after you apply, you will start receiving a message that you are going to take your test. And there's 2 tests, a 48-minute time test with the algebra and the math. So adding, subtraction, multiplication, division, fraction breakdown, decimal breakdown, those things. 48 minutes to complete that test to the best of your ability. The other part is reading comprehension. There's 7 questions. They vary. You never know what they're going to be. And that's 44 minutes. Once you complete that and you've passed that to the best of your ability, they will look at who scored the highest and they will work their way back off of that curve. And you will either make that oral interview with half of labor, which is us, and half of management, which is our contractors. That is the committee that sits on the apprenticeship committee that does all these things. It's a separate entity from Local 302, but we work hand in hand together. Did that answer the question?
I think so. I think so. I guess if we have additional questions about that, I can definitely connect someone with you. Let me just check and see if we have another message that just popped up. Teachers or staff, would you like to, I don't have any questions in the chat box right now from anybody else. Teachers and staff, would you like to ask anything? Do you have any additional questions? Let's see, something just popped up. Somebody says, what are the credentials you need to apply? I imagine high school diploma or equivalent, yeah?
Yes. So once again, 18 years of age, California driver's license, meeting the algebra requirements, and that sealed envelope. I believe that is everything that you need. It's very basic. There's not, but you'd be surprised on how many people don't meet the algebra requirements. But I always tell people, push yourself, get those things done. If I can do it, anybody can do it. Like I said, it wasn't the best high school student. And I'll be honest with you, I was one of the ones that was most likely not to succeed. Barely got through that 12 years or that 13 years because I was held back 1 year. But now looking back on it, it was a blessing because like you said, not everybody knows what they want to do, but those requirements are very basic. And if you meet those requirements, whether you're a man or a woman, please apply because like I said, it's a great career. And like I said, I enjoy it every day, even though I'm in the office now. It could be because my position is appointed by the business manager. He could say, Terry, your time is done in the office and you have to go back in the field. Well, with this new hip and everything that I've done over the last couple of years, I know confidently I can go back in the field and work at a good rate and help out. So, like I said, I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. Another one popped up that says, is there any class that someone can take to help prep them for the math test?
You know, there's a lot of online courses. YouTube is your friend. There's some math things that people have been utilizing on YouTube. Also, if you're really confident with your math skills, there's some online courses or through Diablo Valley College or Las Madonas College. AC theory, DC theory. If you take those classes and you do this before you come in to that oral interview when you apply, that's going to show the committee that you're dedicated and you're really after this, because now you've taken the time on your own time to make yourself a little bit more employable. So like I said, education is the key.
Awesome. Let's see. Somebody says a lot of our, can you read the, do you read a lot of our,
Let's go ahead.
okay, so a lot of our students have interactions with law or maybe have juvenile records or some kind of health record. Is that a hindrance to being able to participate in the union? You did mention that they have to pass a drug test. So yeah.
Let's just be honest and transparent. If you have some felonies that could hamper you going into the industrial aspect of the job, because they do a lot of background checks, some of the commercial projects are like that, but most of the time you can work through that. You've made some mistakes in your past, and we're moving forward. The drug test is a constant, no matter just about any job you go to, they're going to have a pre-employment drug test. Not so much in the residential, but as you start your apprenticeship, yes. The commercial, yes, you will get that, but definitely in the industrial aspect, refineries, power plants, water treatment plants, they all have a pre-drug test, and you have to pass that. Some felonies will follow you. I will be honest with you. The reason I ended up in the military is I had a couple of those and had to work through that. It's pretty wild back in my childhood, and had to learn some valuable lessons. And so I'm proof that you can work through those things. You can better yourself. We make mistakes. We're human. But those are the things that you have to be able to do to be successful with this career.
All right, awesome. Let me check here. Yeah, thank you so much for that response. That was a great response. So thank you. I don't have anything else in the chat box right this second. Again, Olympic teachers and staff, if you want to unmute yourself, you can ask something. It looks like, yeah. So Terry, thank you so much for being here with us today. We're so happy that you were able to come and talk to the Olympic students. We love Olympic students and staff, and we appreciate you coming on and giving them the opportunity to hear about IBEW and your trade and the opportunities that are out there for them.
Great. Hey, is Linda Bloom still on staff there? Can anybody answer that question for me? No?
I don't know that here. Let me see.
Okay. Just curious. I know she used to be there, but maybe not there anymore.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure. I don't recognize that name. So I'm going to go ahead and